Hello, everybody, and welcome to coverage of our third quarterfinals for the 2024 Spring Fling. I'm Michael Hoyp. I'm joined in the booth by Lester Smerling. How's it going, Lester?
Good.
It's good to have you back. I
Yeah.
feel like it's been a while since you've been hopped in the booth and talked some pre-modern Magic. So we have
As
a interesting matchup. So the Sligh deck. That one's not too different, though there are some variations in the Sligh list in particular that we'll talk about. But Tireless Tribe is a deck that I've seen a little bit in the past, but I know it's a lot of people have been working on, and some people are pretty high on it. And I'm really excited just to see the deck in action. So if you're not familiar with Tireless Tribe, it's a 1 mana 1/1 from Odyssey, and it has the ability to discard a card to give it +0/+4 until end turn. And while that on its own is not great, with the card about faced, it can flip its power and toughness. So a way to combo kill people is the intention. So David, who is piloting the Tireless Tribe, has some different strategies involved in his Tireless Tribe list, which we will talk about. All right, I'm ready to jump down to deck lists because I'm sure everyone is real excited about what we're seeing for this matchup. So let me pull that up. All right. Oop, that is the wrong scene. All right. So here we have the Sligh list. So the first thing that jumps out on the screen is that there are some green cards in the sideboard. So basically that is an option that Nathan has said that, okay, obviously there's a lot of artifacts and enchantments, particularly enchantments in the pre-modern scene where that can be problematic for a Sligh list. And having access to cards like Naturalize or Tranquility gives you kind of a failsafe against those strategies. And if it's something that's like the opponent doesn't expect, you can really catch them off guard. Beyond that, it doesn't seem like we're doing anything too crazy in the main deck. In fact, the main looks very stock. There's not even a forest in the main that's in the sideboard. So the main deck, if we were in a closed deck list format, I don't think your opponent would notice anything different. So, is there anything you want to comment about a Sligh deck?
Nope. Uh, Artifacts don't stand a chance with the sideboard. I did notice that. There's a lot of artifact go.
Yeah,
But no,
that's
good list.
probably giving a lot of respect to the Dreadnought variants. So
Yep.
typically, when Sligh plays Dreadnought, game ones are not very good because they know, like, as soon as you know that you're playing a Sligh list when you're Dreadnought, you just want to make a Dreadnought as quick as you can. It's near impossible for them to burn a Dreadnought, and it's very hard for them to race. So I'm thinking that Nathan is thinking that's a pretty popular deck in the metagame. I'm probably going to lose game one. I really want to make sure that I have a lot of interactions for a Dreadnought, which he certainly has a lot with the Mogg
A
Salvage,
lot.
Naturalizes, and then the Pyroblasts, and Overload. So a lot of things going on against Dreadnoughts, if that is how he sideboard. So let's pull up the Tireless Tribe list. And so David has he noted that so there is a group of Tireless Tribe. I think there are 6 players that might have played it in the Spring Fling, and so people are working on this list. And David had tried some different strategies. I think he's a little bit less focused on going all in on the combo. You can see there's only 2 copies of About Face in the main, and more of kind of like this mid-rangey quiet speculation value. He features the card Sunscape Familiar, so the O3 wall that makes your blue and green spells cost less. So if that stays in play, then you're kind of able to like dig through your deck. Quiet speculation gets a lot more efficient if you're kind of paid for 1 mana, and then you can either get if you're getting Roar of the Worms or just like Deep Analysis, the cards come a lot cheaper to flashback. And then he does have the Living Wish package, so there are you can get any of the combo pieces with Living Wish. So the like I said, the main idea of this deck typically is to assemble the combo of Tireless Tribe and About Face, but with David's list, I think he is more of having that as an option, but kind of playing more of a mid-range game, setting up shop, having a Sylvan Library, which I think maybe in this particular matchup might be a little bit punishing. If you're not really racing, then you're giving the Sligh deck more draws. And if your life total is pressured that whole time, that could be problematic. But we will see. What are your thoughts
With
on this Tireless Tribe list?
this Tireless Tribe list is pretty similar actually to a block list that was around back in the day.
Okay.
Um, with how it's set up, basically Tireless Tribe is your madness outlet or your flashback outlet. but he can get a very, very quick Roar of the Worm
Mhm.
down, which is really hard for Sligh to deal with.
Yeah, I think that's his main
Um,
plan is with the Quiet
yep.
Speculation is to put a board presence with Roar of the Worm.
Yeah. So I think it's actually a fairly fair fight.
Okay.
Um, there's no possibility you can ever name the right card with Meddling Mage against the Tireless Tribe deck. Um, there's there's a bunch of singletons, but yeah, I think it's a pretty fair fight.
Okay.
So it'll be pretty interesting.
All right. I'm ready to jump down the match. Are you?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll let our players know that they can begin, and we'll get things kicked off. We are playing a best of 5. The first match is determined by seeding, which Nathan is the higher seed. All right, I've given them the go ahead, and we're gonna kick things off for our third quarterfinal. So we have Nathan Shue on the left with the Sligh list, and then David Crosse with the Tireless tribe. Yeah, chat's already looking at the card Volcanic Spray, so I guess that is a card that we didn't mention in our pregame, but that is a card that could be found with Quiet Speculation, and then you might be able to clear the board. Though it's kind of tough to like really profitably trade with Volcanic Spray. You might get like a Jackal Pup and a Grim Lavamancer, and that's probably the best situation you're gonna get. Obviously, at sorcery speed, you're not gonna get a Ball Lightning, so. It looks like players are shuffling up or figuring out how they're shuffling on webcam games. So always an interesting interaction of cutting decks. So
Yeah.
using a random way to do it. So are you rooting for Sligh? I know you're a fan of red decks, so
Yeah, I can't root against them.
I think the hero in this matchup is probably Tireless Tribe. I think most people are going to agree, but yeah,
It's definitely the tribe deck for the hero here.
yeah.
I'm kind of surprised at some of the numbers, like 2 Mongrel, 3 tribe.
Yeah, I mean, Living Wish I think is the reason that you have 3 tribes because you have 1 in the sideboard. But
Yeah.
the Wild Mongrel, which I know was like a card that David had noted, is he's just won games just by presenting a Wild Mongrel and just kind of pressuring an opponent is something
Does he
that.
does he have a tribe in the board? I don't think he does.
Does he not?
No.
I just assumed he did with the Living Wish. So the Living Wish package is just a mid range thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he can go get Meddling Mage. That's kind of exciting.
We're gonna kick things off with a Jackal Pup. So an ideal start for the Sligh list.
Yep. That's literally the best start you could ever have with Mono Red.
Yeah, there are. I think like against elves, I would rather have a Mogg Fanatic to kill their elf. But
All right, we got Mox Diamond, Mox Diamond.
I guess if okay, so
Sun.
Sunscape Familiar. So this
Yep.
is kind of an engine card in David's list. I think this is something that he's done differently than of the other group of the Tireless Tribe group. So he's using this, and here we have an immediate Quiet Speculation. So he sequenced the Mox Diamonds in that way, so that like a burn spell wouldn't be able to kill the Sunscape Familiar. So he's able to play the Sunscape Familiar, have priority, and then cast the Quiet Speculation right away.
So what do you get? I think you get 2 Roars and the spray.
Well, one thing that's a little bit difficult is you might be inclined to get deep analysis because you spent so many cards discarding a deep analysis. But I mean, it's very painful to pay 3 life against the Sligh list.
So if you can untap though and go Roar, and then untap and then go Roar. What do we get? We got Prismatic Strands.
Okay, Prismatic Strands is a way to fight because that I think
Yep.
also can prevent it to players.
Spray, Roar, and Strands.
So the Prismatic Strands prevent all damage to the source the color of your choice would deal. So yes, you can prevent burn spells and gain some life. So we're getting looks like the spray, Volcanic Spray,
Yep.
Prismatic Strands, and the Roar of the Worm.
Is this deck all foil?
I do well. The Mox Diamonds are not.
Yeah,
They could have been because they had the From the Vault series, but
they did.
the majority I think of his list is yeah.
I wonder if the one of is just he had one foil of a card and he just
That's what he's like. Oh, I got this Volcanic Spray a long time ago. I think I
Yeah.
should probably play
It's a one of.
play it in my deck.
Yep. That actually happened to me at a state tournament back in the day. I got a deck list from the great Mike Atron,
Okay.
and it had all these weird numbers in it, and I played it all the way to top four, lost the top four. Afterwards, we're at dinner, I'm asking him why is there these weird numbers, and that was just the amount of foils he had. Um, Forgot to tell me that before the tournament started.
You probably would have played worse if that's what you know. You were just like, oh, this is a sweet tuned
Yeah,
list from Atron, and
I'm like, he knows exactly what he's doing with this
yep,
thing.
yep. So, so it'd be interesting to see like David. I guess okay. So I was gonna say, does he block with the wall because it's an 0-3?
I don't think you do.
It has a ton of value because he has like the
Yep.
cards that he wants to cast, but also he does have a prismatic strand. So like Nathan would have to commit a card. Like so in this situation, if this incinerate is
You can
he
you can
could
just flash it back, right?
yeah
Or
yeah by
yeah,
tapping an untapped white creature. So
yep, boom.
I think that's what we're doing. Yeah, I'm used to prismatic strands. I think I have most experience with it in the pauper setting. It was a card that was
Yep,
played quite a bit.
huge.
So
That was really good in block too.
okay, did it? Yeah, probably like was it like the green white like discard deck?
There's green white discard, and there was like a birds deck that was pretty popular in the Chicago area for a while. That incinerate's not just an enchantment; it gets binned eventually. Just so the viewers at home.
It just has buyback, and then
Yeah,
it just gets immediately cast again. So
yeah.
it sounds like an unglued card. It's like buyback 0, and then it costs 0 as long as your opponent doesn't say anything.
If your opponent has a 6/6 in play, it just stays.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, like, I think this is a pretty ideal sequence for David that he's able to play the familiar, get the quiet speculation, and then save his familiar, and now play both a Roar of the Worm and a
Against the
Sylvan
Sylvan.
Library. So
That pup may not be as brave this turn.
yeah. Yeah, I would be a little bit more surprised if that Jackal Pup enters the red zone against the 6/6. But
You
yeah,
just man up and do it. I'm in.
I think David would call and be like, I think this
Yeah.
worm is like, yep, we'll block here.
This deck does have a lot of shocks and seals in it, though. He's
Yeah,
got a
so
lot of 2 damage spells.
usually it's kind of one or the other, and I'm trying to think
Yep.
what card. Oh, so I guess it's
Not
like
playing Bobble.
baubles.
Yeah.
Is it just a little bit more consistency, or maybe there's extra lands? I'm not sure, but um, yeah, I haven't seen lists that have both Seal of Fire and shocks for a while.
Yep. Yeah, I think basically he just didn't go with the baubles.
I'm sure he's aware of it. It's
Yeah.
just the consistency is probably something that he just prefers. It also I was trying to think with the sideboard, there is an incentive like if you have a bunch of sorcery speed cards, then Bauble gets a lot worse. So I was thinking the sideboard, but most of his cards I think are instant speed. So
He does have the Tech Furnace for the sideboard game. Yeah, only one, but it could be pretty good. So it'll be interesting to see if Tyler's Tribe actually just Necro Huts and just draws a few cards here.
yeah, I mean, I normally would say no, you're never going to use Sylvan Library against a Sligh deck, but uh, your life total is pretty good,
Yep.
and I mean,
Shock, Fireblast.
I could see maybe that one activation
Boom.
gets used, but
Alright, so Roar's gone. But now
uh,
the pup got a whole lot more brave.
chat is saying, can you tell the players that the pup shouldn't have done 2 damage because of the prismatic strands? Strands was used on
The Sunfire on the wall.
yeah, so you have to like choose. I think. I don't think that's how it works. I don't think it's prevent all damage a color would deal this turn. I think it's a source of a color. There's strands. Oh no, it is sources of the color the choice this turn. So I'll send them a message.
And he did not block with the wall there, right?
I'm not sure. I'm typing to them real quick.
Yep, so no block with the wall. He's going to flash back to spray. Get a little bit of value there.
All right. Sent them a message. I'll update their life totals as they have it, and then we'll see if they are in agreement.
Did David pay life with the library too? I'm pretty sure he
That might
did.
be. I didn't quite see what Nathan had as the life totals
Yep.
until I think Nathan pulled up the message that I sent. So they're gonna figure this out. Yeah, players I think are discussing maybe counting life or right. So it looks like they are in agreement there, and the life total will be adjusted accordingly. Okay, thank you, chat. All right, so where are we at here? So a Grim Lavamancer is down. Looks like there's a number of cards in the graveyard, but so the worm was taken out. Okay,
Yeah. The one was taken out a while with Fireblast and Shock.
we did get a volcanic spray that was able to take out a Jackal Pup. So
Yep. And technically the Fanatic. Yeah, his Living Wish is he doesn't really have any big. He tends to get Plague Spitter, so that's pretty exciting. He can Living Wish for Plague Spitter.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of dangerous.
I gotta
I
live a little.
I guess I mean Nathan has one card in hand, and
Yeah.
uh,
One card, one land.
so like he's used a lot of his resources to kind of like fight the what David's doing. He pointed one at the Sunscape Familiar, and then he used resources. I didn't even see which card he used to try and kill the worm, or to kill the worm, but
Yeah. Fireblast Shock.
okay.
So now we just got another quiet spec. He is paying life with that Sylvan too, which is making it a little bit easier for red.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what he's gonna get here.
Roar the Worm. There's a second copy.
Yep.
Ray of
Ray?
Revelation. Okay.
I guess you don't want. I
For
guess you don't want
Sulfuric
to draw that.
Vortex. Yeah. Well, I think
So
it's
you get
just
two.
yeah. The I think there's only a couple copies in Nathan's list, so it's pretty unlikely that you're going to see both. And just having the answer for the first one seems very good.
So he leaves. I believe he left Deep Analysis in so he can naturally draw it.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. That I think
Yep.
he would like to draw that naturally and then be able to cast the front side.
Not pay life.
Or it's
Do we
possible
have an idea?
it's possible it's in his hand already.
Do we have an idea what the die is for? On
That's the number of cards in his hand. The 2
Oh,
is
gotcha. Okay.
yeah, I don't know what I think the
Man,
2 is just that the one on top is maybe just so it's easy access for something else.
this tribe deck just living in no fear of the life totals. It's kind of great. Just going for it.
Yeah, um I mean, I'm trying to think it like David's thinking, okay, the more turns that the game
Another
go,
damage.
yeah, I would say that would be the other reason that maybe he has a combo and he's just trying to fill up his hand. But yeah, going down to 8
7.
and now 7, it
Mm.
it feels a little worrisome. Like if Nathan just has a number of burn spells off the top, then I feel like David could be in trouble.
Well, he can definitely afford to take at least one hit with the roar here. So
Yeah, I'm just thinking that like I would feel a
uh,
little bit more safe from David's perspective if I didn't like flashback the deep analysis and I just had the worm and my life total is a little bit higher. I
yeah,
guess I mean like Mogg Fanatic is like probably the best card against that game plan of just blocking a 6/6 and then taking and dealing a damage. So I guess it worked out from David's perspective. But I don't know, being at 10 and being at 7, I don't feels like a lot different. I guess with an active Grim Lavamancer,
it's kind of not
every turn
active
is
because he's
okay.
pinched on land.
Yeah.
So now, do you bleed a card out of his hand or do you ping him?
So
Because
you're
you can
saying
block and
using
shoot
the
the
Mogg?
tribe.
Yeah, I think that would be block.
Uh,
Yep. I mean, you could put a damage on David. I think that's the decision whether you a card or a life.
yep,
So the Mogg Fanatic should get in the way of the worm token. And then here, I think the decision point is Nathan is, do I want to put him to 6? I think I would put him to 6.
I would too.
I mean, you're in fear of like a combo of it flipping. I guess there's two cards would be discarded and then about face, but that would be 9 damage. Yeah, that's fine. I think you're looking just to burn him out.
I think Nathan forgot to take a damage off the. Is that swords?
Uh,
Yeah,
okay, so
new
did the
art.
Mogg Fanatic get pointed at, or
It got
was that discarded to keep? No,
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 it was
no.
faced.
Okay, so well, hold on. Life total should have been gained for swords, right?
Yeah,
And
it was.
Mogg Fanatic should have dealt a
But the
point.
tribe should be at 6. This tribe deck should be at 6 life
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah. Okay, wait, wait. Uh, um, okay. Uh, all right. So they did confirm that the Mogg Fanatic targeted David because I
Yep,
don't think Nathan
discarded.
went down. Okay. So I think David should be at 6, or did right?
Yeah,
Okay. They were saying that Nathan was at 15 and then he went up to 16 from the swords.
right. But the David should be one less from the fanatic, I think.
Yeah, I that's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
Okay. David says I believe so. Okay.
yeah, he's got 6. Okay, there we go. Yep.
All right.
All right, yeah. I was looking at the phone, not to die.
Yeah, I'm looking at the phone as well. It's harder for me to see David's
Yep.
life total. Though I
No, I
guess
just need to pay.
yeah.
We just need to pay for 2 cards here, and then we can move on to game 2. Just kill yourself.
I
He
don't think you
doesn't.
technically even can pay for 2. You can pay for 1. You can't pay for life that you don't have, I don't think. Unless it's
Uh,
the exact amount.
sad times.
Yeah, so
Another swords.
the worm gets in and okay, it was not blocked because I think Nathan's saying, "Okay, I want to
Yep.
burn you out." Uh, so
All these swords is making it a little bit hard.
So one thing, the Tireless tribe players I think had said that collectively they made like a bingo card, and it was kind of
Yeah.
like little achievements that they were gonna mark off during the tournament. And so I think one that David had noted was using Swords to Plowshares after you had like about face comboed your Tireless Tribe to stay alive, so giving it extra power and then swordsing your own creature. But, so it was funny that they had little sub goals, I guess, throughout their tournament. All right, this Roar the Worm token is getting in there. The Tireless Tribe is doing a little bit of work too. But
That bolt, yep. Oh, we might get there.
this is an
Unless
end of
he's got
turn
one of
bolt,
his
right?
mana leaks. Yeah. He does have 2 mana leaks.
Oh, yeah, and we do see one of the mana leaks, so that's going to take out the lightning bolt. And I don't think there are any outs from Nathan.
No.
I mean, if we're with him only having one card, Incinerate. Yep, put him to 3. So without the mana leak, then Nathan would have been there. But yeah, a real nail biter for both players. So yeah,
1 of 2 mana leaks.
Tireless Tribe is able to take down game 1, and yeah, with like a very ideal start, I think from David, barring like a combo kill, which obviously we talked about that his deck is less focused on. Having that Sunscape Familiar and that Quiet Speculation, that was on turn 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
was pretty insane. This deck not playing Circular Logic with, I guess he only has 5 Madness outlets, but
yeah, that I think that card. So a lot of the lists that I've seen with the Tireless Tribe is more a Gush deck, and so they
yeah.
fit in Gush and then like have Circular Logic. So they're much more focused on the kind of like assembly that combo and then like playing defense. So they have like sleight of hands or that kind of stuff to like find the pieces and then really go for it. And you have like Shadow Rift to make it unblockable, and then draw a card, and then about face and do it. But yeah, because David is less focused on that plan, you might not even want to commit a Tireless Tribe until like later in the game. So a card like Circular Logic, I think, is a little bit clunkier.
So no sideboards here.
Yep. So game 2 will still be the same configuration as game 1.
Yep.
Yeah, I still feel like I like at least game 1's. I feel like Sligh is a little bit of an edge, though. I think, yeah, because also Nathan had said, I think he said that he played this matchup 3 times within the tournament. So 2 of them was the same player. He had a rematch, and then he had one of the other Tireless Tribe players. I guess though, I'm not sure what his record necessarily was against those. I guess I'm thinking that he beat them, but like that's not necessarily true. I guess just statistically he won more matches than he lost. So all these players are in the top 8 already, but I'm not sure if he had any losses against the Tireless Tribe combo so far. All right, so players are going to shuffle up and draw. So Nathan again on the play, presumably, and going to look to do the Sligh things. So I'll say as Nathan's biggest decision point, I think, is if he sees a Sunscape Familiar, is are you committing resources to kill that? Do you think that's a card that he needs to kill?
After that last game, there can't be any doubt. You just kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just ramps him up too much, gives him too many options.
Yeah. So typically, I mean, when the Sligh deck has to commit resources to killing creatures, a lot of times it ends up being an extra like 2 or 3 turns, because usually you have that critical massive burn to deal 20 damage with just like your hand. So unimpeded, you like kill people around turn 4 or 5. But as soon as you start using resources from your hand to start burn other creatures, then you're going to say, okay, now I need to draw that replacement damage. And sometimes you draw land, sometimes you draw like a creature that could be interacted with or something, and usually it will slow you down like 2 or 3 turns.
So the one thing about this red deck is no lava darts. Playing the full shocks and seals does make it so you're pretty much, unless he blocks with a pup for some reason, you're probably spending 2 cards on it.
On the Sunscape Familiar.
Yeah,
Well, there's
unless you got
Incinerates and
and
Bolts, and
bolts.
so like
Yeah,
yeah, I don't think you're gonna want to Fireblast if you can avoid it. But it might, and then you still have the like a Grim Lavamancer activation is something to combine that to kill it. Okay, so David Mulligan wants Nathan's going to start off with a Wooded Foothills.
pup.
All right, so the red deck. Look at. So when you were talking about deck with all foils, were you talking about David's deck? I guess I completely like forgot about like looking at Nathan's list. He's got a
Both
lot of
these lists.
yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
foils in that list as well. All right, we've got another Mox Diamond on turn 1 for David, so a little bit like a sting when you do have Mulligan, but uh, he's able to get out a turn 1 Wild Mongrel, I believe.
I believe so.
Like, what color is that Wild Mongrel? It looks black right now.
I know, right?
So, this is another feature I think that David had in his list. I don't know if this is consistent with all the other Tireless tribes, but Wild Mongrel, there's a couple copies, and that allows him to kind of have that more mid-rangey plan. It's a threat that can deal some chip damage. It's difficult to remove, especially with damage-based effects, just because you can commit cards from your hand. You don't have to spend any mana to keep it around. And like if you're casting Deep Analysis, it might be a formidable threat.
You definitely want to try to burn it out because them pitching is fine for you.
Players are talking about like keeping cards in. The second game is still without sideboard because we're playing a best of 5. So how brave would you be to attack with Jackal Pup?
I would attack. I'd let him block, and I'd try to burn the
Yeah,
mine in his
I
box.
guess because like David has 3 cards in hand, so
Yep.
I guess at worst he would have to
He's not gonna
discard
pitch
2 cards, and then you would take 4.
Yeah, there's no way he's gonna pitch 2 cards here. Boom.
All right, so the lightning bolt takes out the wild mongrel, and then Jackal Pup gets in, and then a seal fire is added. So, do you think there's any? No, I guess I would say, is seal of fire ever worth a card? I would say because if you led with seal, and then he would discard 1 card, and then you would bolt it. But yeah,
I would have personally led with seal.
so you think you would rather have David discard a card than take 2
Yeah.
or have a seal fire? I don't know if
Yeah.
I agree. But it is an interesting
doesn't
thought.
do
So
a whole lot here.
Quite speculation. I think it really matters if there is a 4th land in David's hand, then the Roar of the Worms start coming down. I think that is the most important factor here.
We're definitely gonna get. I would think we're gonna get 2 roars is what I would think.
Yeah, and then
2 roars and a deep analysis maybe.
I think Volcanic Spray will come up. Like it might depend on like if David doesn't have a 4th mana source, you have to get Volcanic Spray. I think.
Yep.
This Volcanic Spray has looked pretty good. I mean, obviously, like quiet speculation is a big part of it, but just trading 1 for 1 for a Jackal Pup seems fine.
Yeah, spray. Spray is one of those funny cards. I think he gets the Ray.
Oh well,
Afraid of Vortex.
yeah, I would say like that's not very effective against seal of fire.
No.
I'm trying to think if you have Meddling Mage in hand, then it's okay because you could just make you deal the damage to me, and then I can play my Meddling Mage. But yeah, in general, it seems preemptive against Sulfuric Vortex.
Maybe he's got Tribe too.
That that could also be a possibility. Though it's kind of just like Tribe stays alive just by discarding a card, though he only has 2 cards in hand, so.
Yeah. So we are going to go ahead and Ray. At 1 life, even.
I guess if you
Big
have.
decision point for mono red. Do you point it at the face or just let it go? Big decision point.
I was about to say how it's interesting, like the interactions with Sligh, that like when we talked about the using the Seal Fire first on the Wild Mongrel, how things can get tricky, and you're just saying, does the Sligh, do you use your Seal Fire or not?
You want to put your opponent on tilt? You're just like, yeah, it goes. I've always been a big fan of trying to get them to discard cards when I'm against Mongrel, though, whenever I'm red.
Yeah, it depends in certain situations.
There's
So
the
we
tribe.
do see the Tribe, okay.
Look how smart I am sometimes. Bam.
Is this Incinerate just at face? Oh, there
No,
is.
it's going to be at the tribe.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that worth it? I mean, like, it's not like you have any creatures that you're like.
Well, he's down to 1 card now, right?
I mean, David has a 2 on his die, but it does look like
Yeah.
1 card.
So I don't. You still gotta fight this roar when he hits another land here. Boom.
Okay, so the shock is being pointed at the Tireless tribe,
Yep.
and then
And now he's decided if he wants to respond to the discard to still kill it. And he does with another bolt.
so I mean, so the amount of burn that Nathan pointed at that Tireless tribe was Incinerate, shock, and bolt. That's 8 points of burn. I mean, it's not like this Tireless tribe is in danger of killing you.
And now the roar comes out. So if there wasn't the roar there, I might have used a couple of those 2 damage ones. But knowing that roar was in the yard is a little bit rough. He's gotta have a plan though, I would think.
I mean, it is scary now that you've used a bunch of burn spells, and now you're facing down.
He could have Curse Scroll here too.
I guess just you know that Roar Worm's in the graveyard, and that you're at 3 mana. So as soon as he hits that 4th, it's going to come down. I feel like you would want the game just to be as short as possible. I think
Yeah.
I think Nathan needed to point those burn spells at David and just hope they resolved that. There's no. All right. Well, this is definitely a card that can get him back in this game, I think. Yeah, David's not blocking. This will half his life total.
So I got 1 card in hand. That last card's Fireblast, let's assume.
Okay, yeah.
And he's got a whole bunch of 2 or 3 damage spells.
So it's
Wish I dodged the out of the mana leak here.
2-turn clock for David. That the worm will kill him in 2 turns. Though a Mogg Fanatic would buy him a turn.
Yeah.
I think Mogg Fanatic might be one of his best draws in this situation. Oh, never mind. That might be his best draw.
Yeah.
Yep. And with David just having a land in hand and nothing else to do, that Ball Lightning will deal the final 6 points of damage. So maybe that was what was in his hand, that Nathan had Ball Lightnings, and that he was thinking, I just got to stay alive and then I'll kill you with Ball Lightning. But yeah.
Like, I mean, when we look at that, he did. So the tribe player did discard swords and mana leak to keep the tribe in play. So, and those would have played huge in that game there.
Certainly. Yeah, and the sword's definitely, like, if you're get to the point where you're able to cast the worm, even if things are going really astray that you're like, all right, I had this worm, I attacked with it once, now I got to swords it and gain 6. But yeah, I think you're in that situation. If you don't have another Roar the Worm to flashback, like your Sligh opponent's gonna like draw out of it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. All right,
How
let's
many Friday
go.
Night Magics do you think that the red player played to get all these cards? Pups, balls, those are all Friday Night Magic.
Are they? Are they all? What about the? Was the Incinerate one in a foil? Like the?
Incinerate was like in that deck box.
Okay,
I believe
okay,
it was
okay.
in the
The deck
Finkel
master.
versus
Yeah, okay.
Garfield. Yeah.
All right, let's jump down to the decks and talk a little bit about sideboarding. So I have the about face list up. So part of it is this is a Living Wish deck, so I think some of these cards are going to stay in the sideboard just so they are more consistent with the Living Wish. But there is a Tormod's Crypt, an Engineered Plague. I assume that's a Circle Protection Red. Saba's Web, Naturalize, Hydroblast, Prismatic Strands, Ray of Revelation, Coffin Purge, Uktabi Orangutan, Meddling Mage, Plague Spitter, Caller the Claw, Wonder, and Gilded Drake. So Hydroblast, Prismatic Strands, I assume are coming in. Circle Protection Red as well.
Yeah. I would think those, unless sometimes Engineer Play can be kind of good too.
I can see that too as a card
Yep.
coming in preventively, like name elemental, or if it's just on wizard or human or whatever.
Yep.
The one that I guess would, though I guess human would probably be bad against Tireless Tribe and Meddling Mage, so you probably just name wizard. Yeah, I could see that. And then, what cards are you not interested in having?
I think you probably take out the Ray. Maybe you shave on a Sylvan.
Okay, I can see that.
I don't know how good Meddling Mage actually ever is
Yeah,
against red.
Meddling Mage is like a 2/2 that.
You could potentially just cut all the Living Wishes too. You might
Okay.
just feel like you don't have enough time to Living Wish.
Yeah, and just bring in like a. Yeah, okay, so
Like bring in Uktabi.
yeah, I mean I think that is something that is reasonable. I can see that.
Yep.
All right,
You could bring in like Utabi, bring in the Wonder, and then
Wonder.
just
I guess if you're going for a combo kill, but there's just not that many islands, and it's like. I
imagine
guess,
if those roars had flying though.
yeah, I mean the ability for Sligh to block, like with Grim Lavamancer or Mogg Fanatic, is kind of problematic against the Roar of the Worm token. So
Yeah. I mean, they're probably not making a lot of progress in their blocking anyway, so maybe don't care too much about it.
all right, so I'm looking at the Sligh list. So the sideboard here is 3 Pyroblast, Phyrexian Furnace, 3 Mogg Salvage, 2 Overload Forest, 4 Naturalize, and a Tranquility. Are you just bringing in? Are you bringing in all the Pyroblasts?
No, I wouldn't personally. I would just bring in the Furnace.
So the Pyroblast interacts with what we see, the Quiet Speculation, which is a very key card, but like I think it's kind of like it's hard for you to Pyroblast like a 2-mana card that I think David is prioritizing having, and so like Nathan would just like always need to have mana up within like the first couple turns, which I don't know if he always has that luxury.
Yeah.
So I just it seems like the timing it's a difficult card to fight.
And I mean, to be fair, Furnace kind of sort of does the same thing. I think you only want Furnace here. You probably take out like a Seal of... maybe you should just take out Curse Scroll too. Curse Scroll might not be so good here.
Yeah, I'm not too impressed with the sideboard for Nathan in this matchup. I don't feel like there's many significant improvements. So he like I mean I could also just.
What if you had a second Furnace? How excited would you be then?
Rich, the last green card is Tranquility. It's a 7th edition one. Oh, what was your question, Lester?
What if you had a second Furnace? How excited would you be then? 2 Furnaces?
Yeah. I don't. Seems all right. I'm gonna go back to the other deck list, since this one does seem a little bit trickier to sideboard. I guess I should have just looked at the actual screen of David, and maybe I could have figured out. I guess I wouldn't have seen which cards he is sideboarding in and out. But at least I could have seen how many cards, probably. All right, I'll jump back down to the match. we'll see if the players are starting soon. Yeah, we're at one apiece, and now we have David on the play, which I think his deck gets better slightly. I mean, I don't think it's like haymakers in terms of, but certainly having an extra Prismatic Strands, Hydroblast, and Circle of Protection, I think obviously makes your deck better. So we've kind of seen the Tireless tribe against the Sligh list, and it's kind of just been a mid-rangey quiet speculation deck. I feel like that's kind of like the game plan one. Do you think that on average is favored against Sligh?
Uh, well, I was actually thinking he might take the about face combo out actually after sideboard. That might be a thing
I
too.
did think about that. Like that is something. I
Yeah,
mean, it's. I mean, I think you
he's
leave in Tireless Tribe, but I think
yeah,
you just cut to the two about faces. You're
yeah.
probably
He
like,
could just be good stuff deck after sideboard. Like he's got 6/6s.
yeah, I think that
You know,
is reasonable. It's it just seems like your clock is just a little
better.
bit slower on average than what the slide deck is trying to do, and they do interact in meaningful ways with like Grim Lavamancer's blocking and Mogg Fanatic, but maybe you talked about like that Living Wish. I think I would want the Wonder in the sideboard. Like it's not a good draw per se, and like it is a card I could see you Living Wishing just to take everyone to the air so that your worms do fly over. Okay. So we have Mox Diamond and a Flooded Strand on turn one. I think.
Discarding a foil city, the good pitcher foil city, kind of impressive.
Okay. So what's the turn one play for David? Probably Quiet Speculation, right?
Quiet spec again. Oh,
Oh, Sunscape
Sunflower.
familiar.
Yep, Sunscape. So now if you're mono red, you just want to go Mountain Bolts, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So we saw the first game where David, I mean, he had two Mox Diamonds, so he was able to not expose it to burn spells. In this situation, I guess it's only Bolt that would be able to kill this on turn one. And also, it's possible like David has like a backup Sunscape familiar, and it's kind of like, yeah, I want you to bolt this first one, so my second one can come down and just kind of live.
Were all the tribe players playing Mox Diamonds? Do we know?
That I don't know. I just know that like David had noted that his list was more different than what the other players were doing. So if you, I mean, I don't know in the traditional list that I've seen, like with the Gush plan, I don't think. I guess Mox Diamond is still fine in those decks. But are
It's
you?
probably
I've been
better in
really
the
impressed with the Mox Diamonds. I think I mean like if in these draws, if David doesn't have Mox Diamond, like
yeah.
things are just so much slower. I think they really work well with quiet speculation. Like a turn one quiet speculation is way different than a turn two quiet speculation.
We got the quiet spec. Well, and then not just that, the turn 3 Roar is way better than
Yeah,
turn 4.
yeah. Those differences I think have a
Yep.
huge impact of just kind of how the tempo of the game goes.
This volcanic spray has been phenomenal against these Jackal Pups too. Like
Yeah, just with a little extra salt, just be like take a damage and get your Jackal Pup out of here.
take 2.
Why is it
It
two?
does 2.
No, it does
Because it
one.
does it to players too.
Oh, okay.
This so yeah. What do we get? Spray, Roar, and Strands maybe?
Yeah, it looks like a white card, so unless it's a Ray of Revelation, but I didn't see. But I think Prismatic Strands, especially with a Sunscape Familiar in play, seems very ideal. That is also a nice sequence too, like just having the Sunscape Familiar with the Prismatic Strands.
Yeah.
That like I do like this Soundscape Familiar, and I think is a card that David has that like I'm trying, and it's been really impressive. It has looked very good in this matchup. It kind of just is a nice little glue piece, and it makes things just a lot smoother, especially against a damage based deck.
So he did keep the Living Wishes in.
But
Now
what
what's he
creature
get?
is he gonna get?
I'll bet money he does not get Gilded Drake.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Is that something green?
Uktabi
Uktabi.
Orangutan. Okay.
Yeah.
I would say I think it would be either that or Caller the Claw.
So he is pinched on land here, though.
The
He didn't play.
the nice thing from David's perspective though is he has that insurance policy that if Nathan is going to go for I'm going to burn down your wall, he has that prismatic strand. So
Yep.
yes, he has technically has 2 lands, but he has the Sunscape Familiar in play, which is really good. Like he's still able to cast Utabi Orangutan. I don't know if you're going to want to run it out when there's no Curse Scroll, but
Yeah, you certainly don't want to kill your Mox.
oh yeah, I guess it's not a May.
Yeah. So we're stranded up here. They actually fogs for the turn. Oh, maybe he'll just get Nuktabi to kill the furnace that we know eventually is going to get drawn.
Okay.
He's just looking for the future.
All right, so Incinerate is basically countered thanks to the flashback Prismatic Strands, and now a Tireless Tribe plus a Deep Analysis. So that Deep Analysis was discarded, right? That was not.
Yeah,
That
discard.
was not part of the Quiet Speculation. Yeah.
Oh. Boom.
What do you think about not casting that Deep Analysis right here? Like waiting to try and draw a 3rd land to cast it on the front half. I guess if your life total, you do have a good amount of life total to play with. And
I'm gonna guess I'm gonna guess that he's got 2 tribes, so he's gonna try to fight that way.
Well, I mean, I think his main motivation is the quicker I get this Roar the Worm in play, I put my opponent on a clock and I prevents them from drawing more cards, which is how I'm going to die. Is the burn deck is going to amass a certain number of burn spells and point them at me, and so the quicker I can get to that fourth mana, including the Sunscape Familiar, the better.
These tribes are fantastic fighters against the pup too.
Yeah, pup and goblin lackeys, and yeah, a lot of the. It certainly can block a lot of the stuff, and just the threat of like a lot of times it just prevents your opponent from attacking because it's like, yeah, I certainly don't. And I mean, David might not want to discard any of the cards in his hand, but Nathan doesn't really know if he has like all cards that he needs to keep or not, and so
he's gonna discard Uktabi here. I'll bet money on it.
Well, if you have 2 copies, do you think there's like maybe? Do you think maybe the first Uktabi is better than the second Tireless Tribe? Because like if a curse scroll came down in the situation, I guess I don't. That's still pretty slow. So
we discard. We discard the other strands.
Yeah, Prismatic Strands.
That makes it not fun for the red player.
Yeah, it's certainly a lot harder to do math when that card's involved. Like you're like, okay, I'm gonna kill you this way. And it's like, well, when they can like instant speed, just
no.
Yep. This card's been fantastic in this matchup. So
yeah,
and I mean, like even against like goblins or sometimes like what elves is trying to do if they're trying to like overrun you or like just do a big damage, like that card can just be really, really powerful. All right, so David is untapped and he has the ability to flashback the Roar of the Worm. I imagine that's what he's going to spend his turn doing.
Yeah, we just spent another 2 cards on the tribes, trying to kill them, but now with Prismatic Strands in the yard with the Roar.
I mean, it's tougher, Nathan, because like you're certainly not going to be able to kill a Roar of the Worm token when there's a Prismatic Strands because you'd have to commit like so many burn spells. Like It's
Yeah.
but yeah, I think at that point you kind of just say like, I hope my draw is perfect and that I'm able to top deck my way and just point them all at David's head.
There is no perfect draw here, though, right? Because the Strands protects the player, too. So even if you draw, like, Fireblast, Fireblast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the instant speed you can kind of like partition it. So like if like it, David has to do it. Like obviously, if you're casting a fire blast, it either gets prevented or it doesn't. And if David does pull the trigger and use the strands, then obviously you're not casting the next one, and you could just
Yeah.
like pass a turn. But
Yeah, I love red, but I don't think red can come back from this.
yeah, so yeah, things do look good for the Tireless Tribe right here. So Roar the Worm token getting in, Tireless Tribe playing defense.
Oh, we got a path to victory. Played Sylvan.
All right, so Nathan has second card in his hand, or is it, or does he have three?
You got 3 cards in hand.
Okay. Yeah, I guess because this Prismatic Strands is still in the sideboard, or it's not, still in the graveyard. So I see
Yep.
a really, really hard time of for Nathan to come out of this one. He's gonna use a Wooded Foothills, go get another mountain, but
Oh, he sided in his forest.
uh, really.
Hmm.
So he's that worried about get the circle protection red.
Maybe he's actually just trying to fight
Oh,
the
the Mox
Sylvans.
Diamonds.
I don't know.
Maybe he just feels there's enough targets that there's some value there. But I guess that's information that David had. I didn't think there was going to be as much sideboarding from Nathan's perspective, but here the force came in, and so that means that Naturalize and or Tranquility is in.
Huh. Is there a foil Mirage forest?
So
I don't think there is, right?
well, so I think it's Dominaria Remastered is the mountain, and
Yeah, that's
I don't think there was an art from Mirage that was included in that set.
foiled.
So that was a long answer, I think, of saying no.
Yeah.
All right, we do have a Naturalize that is pointed at the
That's Sylvan.
Sylvan. Problem here is like, yeah, like David's not going to be able to use that to dig for anything, but if the board states say the same, David's easily winning this game. He's got a Roar the Worm token in play.
I guess if we think about that though, like how good would that Naturalize have been 2 turns ago to get rid of that Mox?
Yeah, I would say like a lot of the draws that David's had have kind of been
Mox.
held together by a Mox, and if you're able to take that out, then suddenly like David's draws could be a lot clunkier, and
Yeah.
Sligh could be getting in for tons of damage. So maybe that's just a risk that Nathan feels it is worth the is worth it.
Maybe he took out his vortexes.
There is a last ditch effort that Nathan could block the worm with the Jackal Pup and then seal a fire it to only take 2 damage instead of 6. But I think that usually is only a winning line. Oh, but then wait, then David could use the prismatic strands to prevent the
The red.
red damage, and then he would take 6 from the green. That would be really cool. I don't. That would be a sweet bingo card. I don't think that's gonna happen, but
I wouldn't have even thought about putting that in the bingo card.
we got to incinerate.
On what?
Looks like the Roar of the Worm token. Then there's a shock, but then the problem here is if you use the Seal of Fire, then the Prismatic Strands is there. Okay. I think I would pull the trigger for David. Is yep. Flashback the Prismatic Strands. That
You
will.
have to have one more burn spell here. Oof. That hurt.
I mean, I think it's Nathan just saying this is my only way to. Hopefully, you think that there's a reason why you shouldn't use this Prismatic Strands, and then I'll get rid of your clock. But he's now denied his option of blocking with the Jackal Pup, so I think Grim Lavamancer will have to get in the way. Oh,
Still have to spray.
the spray's still there. Never mind.
Yep.
I forgot about that one. So the spray takes out the blockers for Nathan, and then that worm's able to get in. I guess that is a reason, like less value from Wonder is if you because you have access to Volcanic Spray, you can just kind of hold it for those situations, and then because all the creatures that Nathan would be able to block with would have 1 toughness, so maybe Wonder is not as pivotal as maybe we kind of like thought about.
With how good spray is, he should have a second one in the sideboard.
It certainly on its face, you're kind of like, oh, it's a little bit slow. It deals damage to you against Sligh. You certainly don't want to do that. It's been really good here.
Yeah.
The Tireless tribe deck has looked very, very clean in terms of like just the way things have gone. Very smooth. That the Sunscape Familiars and the Quiet Speculations and the Mox Diamonds, I think, kind of have really like bumped it up a turn, and I think that turn has made a huge difference in how the games would play out.
It's been pretty much dominating these games. If he didn't have Runner, Ball, Lightning, and the other one, like. So if you're building an all foil deck, right? Do you stoop to putting in like non-premodern
Oh, so like,
swords?
yeah, I think that's right.
Or do you just run the old school swords?
Well, so the Swords of Plowshares that he has is old frame.
Are they?
Yeah, there's a version.
To that new picture though, right?
Yeah, it's a new art, but like an old frame.
Yeah.
And I think like I'm not too like you can play whatever you want, but like I do like it that like when all the cards have the same matching border. I think there is it like deck photos look really nice, and just that consistency across your deck is cool. But I could see like I mean if you're foiling out a deck, it also would be like, oh, this is annoying that this old card I can't foil. But
there are foil swords though.
yeah,
I mean they're like $200 a piece, but they are out there.
Is like it's with the original art, right? And,
yeah, Friday Night Magic again. Okay. See, people, you should have all attended Friday Night Magics.
Yeah,
I think it might have been Arena League actually for the swords though.
They need to bring those programs back. Like,
yeah, they're only $300 a piece. I don't know why you wouldn't have 4 of those. Yeah. Come on now.
But I think Wizards had discontinued it just because of the shipping of like individually shipping it out to all the people was just too costly. Which, I mean, that is a lot of money in terms of shipping at that point. I feel like there's got to be a way where they could figure out that they wouldn't have to ship out to each individual.
Yeah, I used to get like random foil Hypnotic Specters in the mail from the player rewards and stuff.
Yeah, those kind of things. That's what I'm saying. I think they should do those again. But
a big problem with these is that they gave them to the stores, and then the store you never got your cards. The store lost them.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah, they had some really cool old stuff from that.
I mean, certainly a lot of the foils that we see, like in Nathan's deck, I think, what is it, Jackal Pups and you said Ball Lightnings? Are those
Jackal Pup, Ball Lightning, Shock?
Okay.
All came from that.
I know a lot of like madness cards. Like there's like Wild Mongrel. I think these are new boarded ones, but there's like Wild Mongrels I think Deep Analysis, Arrogant Worms, or whatever. Pretty much, you could have like F and M
Four
foils
too.
for your entire Blue Green Madness deck. I think
Yep.
at some point. So
I actually think they made foil Mogg Fanatic too.
I that does sound right. All right, it looks like David is sending his hand back and going
Yep.
for a mulligan. But it looks like Nathan is happy with the 7 that he saw.
Oh yeah, Nathan got a pup again. So far, each game, Reds had the pup, and the Tribers had the Mox. We'll see if we can keep that up.
And I mean, I don't know if all 3 games if he's had Sunscape Familiar, but like it has come down pretty
Pretty
consistently, pretty
consistently.
quickly. Yeah.
Uh,
Are you convinced that the Tireless Tribe deck is advantaged in this matchup now? I might be, but like it might just be that like David's. I guess it depends on how consistently he can have those opening draws of like an accelerated quiet speculation, whether it's in the form of um in
Mox
combination
or
with
not.
in
Yeah.
combination with a Sunscape Familiar or Mox Diamond.
Yeah, the Prismatic Strand spray roar is pretty phenomenal against this deck. Going down to 5 is gonna be a little bit rough. He is on the draw though, so he gets an extra card.
Yeah, that always takes a little bit of the sting off. But
Yep. I always remind my opponents of that when they're like, I'm like, go ahead, go down, mulligan more. You get an extra one.
did they ever listen?
I actually got judge called on me one time because unsportsmanlike apparently.
I
The,
mean,
the match next to me called the judge on me
okay. Was it a friend or is it?
that I was doing it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of
Okay.
my friends. Yeah,
Okay. Would you do it to someone that you like didn't really know? I
good
feel
advice
like
is good advice, man.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I feel like
if you're not happy with it, you can always go to 4.
yeah.
The whole being able to draw the 7 and put the cards back though is just such a huge advantage now with mulligans.
Yeah, it certainly does change. I mean, it. I know when I used to play before the London Mulligan, it just felt like, oh, I'm mulliganing now. Like my house of cards is falling in. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna draw less cards, and like
Yep.
I'm not gonna hit any lands, and I'm just gonna have to. And then you're more likely
Yep.
to do that when you are drawing less cards. So it is. I've been really happy with how it's played out. So
There were times when you would just keep a miserable hand because you're like, I at least got to land in this one. But
yeah.
yeah,
All right, Mogg Fanatic is the turn 1 play, so no Jackal Pup here. We've got a 1/1.
it is the foil one though.
Yeah. I received my Mogg Fanatic playmat, so I'm
Oh,
one of the members
the
that
tribe.
it was like a I don't know if Kickstarter is the right word. Like the original Magic art has like a threshold, like enough people order, then they'll commission and so yeah, it'll be exciting to put that one to use.
Was that from the artist or was that from Wizards?
It was through original Magic art, so it is like licensed through like Ultra Pro, and I think it's signed by the artist. But once they get like a certain number, then they're like, okay, we will print this. The artist gets a chunk of money, and they sign them all or whatever, and then they send them out. So
Sweet.
all right, so the board has been added with a Seal of Fire and a Curse Scroll. So if Nathan has a third land, then he's able to like further get cards out of his hand and then have that curse scroll online, and just that would be a consistent source of damage, which could be. I mean, it's not
Start
like his
Adarkar.
draw's been blisteringly fast, but like it might be have the staying power to consistently deal damage to David. Like I guess his creatures have been kind of thwarted in terms of whether it's like a wall or a Roar of the Worm token that I feel like Nathan hasn't consistently been able to attack with his creatures, and so this might be a game where he's going to do a better job of that.
So what does David have that would be worth playing that Mox there? He doesn't have intuitions.
Uh, Prismatic Strands against a Ball Lightning, I would
Fair.
cast the front half.
Fair.
Swords to Plowshares and not have to pay life.
What do we got here? One of the look at that.
Is a Risk Grove, I believe.
Risk Grove, yep.
So those are the lair lands that when you play, you have to pick up a non-lair land. I played that in conjunction with Exploration, and it feels real nice.
Yep, I still play Flint's lands deck on Magic Online all the time.
I think it's a blast.
Yeah, except when they kill your stuff, then it's just no fun.
Yeah, I mean, Horn of Greed is not greedy. Both players get to draw cards.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
So you got the spray again.
Yeah, so the spray will take out a Mogg Fanatic. So a 1-for-1 there. And that spray is in the graveyard. Okay. So
yep.
I'm like, it looks a little bit higher. It has not been flashbacked, so.
Curse Scroll is kind of fallen on the hard times, I feel like, nowadays. It used to be such a phenomenal card, now it's just such a corner case. The Vortex is pretty good here, though. All right. Got him again.
Right,
Every time a fetch land gets sacked against mono red, you're just like,
just rubbing your hands together. Thank you.
got him again.
We're on the same team. We're we're working towards the same goal. All right.
Let me know when you're at 7.
Tireless Tribe. I mean, do you think Nathan is afraid of getting comboed out here? I think you just ignore it and you just say,
yeah.
Like your board position.
It's really hard. It's really hard with the seal on the table too.
That's no.
I mean, you got to resolve the first one and then.
Oh yes. Because then I think the way it actually works is. So if let's say this is a ruling that I'm not sure. Like so, let's say you've cast About Face, and you flip it so it's like a 17-1 or whatever, and you cast a bird spell. If you discard another card, I think it increases the power, right? Effects that alter the creature's power and toughness are vice versa. Yes, so
it'd be like a 17-5.
No, it wouldn't. It's saying that so after this resolves, if you were to discard an additional card, it would pump its power, right?
Okay.
So I don't think.
Is that what it does?
I think so. Yeah, because effects that alter the creature's power alter its toughness instead, and vice versa this turn. Yeah, so that's an additional part of the About Face card. So
yeah. So it is hard with a seal on the table. Oh, is that a roar? No, that's yep.
All right, so
response.
Sulfuric Vortex has been chipping away. Yeah, and so 2 cards in hand from Nathan.
Scroll response to try to. There's no way you're going to try to keep the tribe, I wouldn't think.
Naturalize is revealed.
Yep.
It is a little bit awkward. So we had noted that there's a forest in the sideboard. There's just the 4 Wooded Foothills to get that green source. So there's not a lot of green sources in Nathan's deck. It is a little bit awkward when you have Curse Scroll and you have cards that are like difficult to cast. Not only like there might not be a target, but like you might not have the mana, and so that is a little bit awkward. That it might make your Curse Scroll activations a little bit clunkier.
So he's at 8 though. Either 8 or 6, right? No, David is. So I mean, this game is over with, right?
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
We got 4 guaranteed on the table, depending on what we draw here. A lot of mountains have been drawn.
I guess barring no, I would say like, even the
Oof.
about face combo, but like with the seal in play, and you have the Sulfuric Vortex that would prevent like a Swords to Plowshares from gaining David life by plowing his own Roar the Worm token. It seems like most of the bases I think are covered for Nathan.
Unless Nathan just drew something that's uncastable, like another
Yeah,
Naturalize.
more Naturalizes I think would be
I
the
mean,
worst
that's
thing for
actually
him.
not bad though, right?
But
Because then you get 2 out of 3. So even drawing another that Naturalize isn't the worst.
what if it's a Tranquility?
Oof. Oof. All right, we got something here. Incinerate.
All right, so 3
I'm going
damage
for it
down to
right now.
6, and then seal will be used down to 4. If you is this David's turn or is this Nathan's turn that
This
he's
is
doing all this?
still Red's turn.
Okay,
So
so
we're scrolling.
assuming
During
the scroll
upkeep.
hits, then David would be dead on upkeep because of Sulfuric Vortex.
Yep.
Though I guess okay, I would say David's tapped out. I was gonna say maybe you just wait to make sure that there's not a rare revelation, but all right,
He
yeah,
gets a
Days
Naturalize.
naturalized and it gets hit, and I
Yep.
think David will go to 0 during his upkeep because of Sulfuric Vortex.
See how good Naturalize is against this deck?
Deals 2 damage.
Yep. Can't swords it. Oh,
Wait. What happened? No, wait. Did they? He just swords,
yeah.
but there's a vortex in play. Hold on.
Like you
Hold
can
on.
certainly swords it if you want. It's
But he should take 2
don't
damage
gain life.
from the vortex.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting enough. Interesting enough. Even if we let it play out, I still think Red wins this one.
yeah. I think we'll check with our players and
Yeah. But even if we let it play out, we do have Naturalize in hand for the Red player.
yeah, naturalize that he can't cast.
Oh, he brought in Pyroblast too.
All right, so the players are now aware now. So,
Yeah.
um, so the red deck does take that down. So, yeah, technically
Oh,
illegal play. You're still able to Swords to Plowshares your Roar the Worm token, but it
yep.
doesn't do much. So we are even at 2 games apiece.
So Pyroblast, always the best choice for mono red because you don't have to have target a blue card. You can just get it out of your hand for Curse Scroll.
Yeah, destroy target permanent if it's blue, as compared to
Yep.
destroy target blue permanent. The with the red elemental blast, you need a target, right?
Yep.
Or is it? Yeah. It's that way.
Yeah, you have to target a blue permanent. With Pyroblast, you can just pitch it anything. Always better for mono red.
David's
If
like,
it plays
yes,
red.
my meddling mages are just a little bit better. No.
Yeah.
um,
I'm really interested in what mono red took out. I wonder if they took out Ball Lightnings.
I don't know. I personally don't feel like. I mean, there
We
is
also
one
haven't
circle
seen
of protection
Shock.
red, but like, I don't. If unless you're going for the Mox Diamonds, I don't think I like the plan of bringing Naturalizes.
Yeah. The Pyroblast is fine because what if you hit the Mongo and you're like, what color is it? Like blue, and you're like, ah, gotcha. Because the default is always black, right? You always just say black or red. I think that's the default.
I think black is would be the best.
Yeah. On Magic Online, you pick white because it's the first one. So that's just like, you're lazy, you just pick the first one.
I know when I do it, I try and just if it doesn't matter, then I just try and make it all 5 colors in one game. That's
Ooh.
a goal that I always have.
That
The
should be on the bingo card.
rainbow dog, yeah.
Yeah. You should try to get in one turn
Yeah. That one's a little
with a
trickier,
combo.
but it's definitely possible. Like
Yeah.
then you gotta or I get excited. It's like what color are you gonna make your wild mongrel when it's like the lethal mongrel? Like which color gets to
Yeah.
hold the crown? Is it the white dog? Is it the green dog? The black, the blue, or red?
When you're receiving it, you make him decide, even though he's just dead anyways. You're like,
I
you
will
didn't even think
say
our color, bro.
people give Magic Online a lot of flack for being like outdated, but there's a lot of satisfaction with the wild mongrel like actually changing colors on
Yes.
Magic Online.
It is phenomenal.
We are simple men.
Yes. Did you ever play Orcish Spy back in the day?
I didn't, but Phil Nguyen, if he's in the chat, like that was a card that it was funny. He had played it and then realized that it's not a legal pre-modern card
Oh.
because
Because it
it's
used to put like this giant window that you had to move around and it would like cover up the screen.
is that so? It was like a giant card previewer.
Yeah, because it would like show the top card of the deck, and then like you had like it would just cover up like you had to move it and stuff.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it did it to the opponent too.
Why are you playing Orcish? Well, Orcish Spy
In
wouldn't
drafts.
reveal it to your opponent, so
I'm pretty sure
oh,
Orcish Spy revealed it to your opponent. What's
it
that
says
thing?
look at the top three cards of the layer of target player's library. Maybe you're thinking of
Are
a
you talking
different
about
card.
Librarian or are you talking about Spy?
Orcish Spy.
There was one of them that did it.
Do you remember like what draft format it would have been?
No.
No. All right. Well, we're on the last game of this match, and David's going to start things off with 2 mana on turn 1, thanks to Mox Diamond,
Sunscape.
and now even kind of an additional mana with the Sunscape Familiar. So his turn 2 could be quite explosive. Like he could have land, Quiet Speculation, Roar the Worm on his second turn.
Dead.
Chad has asked why I haven't played in the Magic Online Society leagues. It is something that I've thought about, and I probably should do. I just haven't pulled the trigger to get in, but it is something I think I'm interested in. Sunscape Familiar is uh, removed thanks to a turn 1 Lightning Bolt from Nate. So that is, I think, something that could be very favorable. It was very scary with the potential of that sequence that I talked about.
Yeah, this even just looks like a fair game now.
Who do you think that favors?
I think it definitely favors red right now.
Okay. Well, without him having like a consistent source of damage,
He's
it
got mountains. They're consistent.
uh
He'll conjure up red things.
though I guess like the more yeah, it's not like Nathan has had to use a lot of resources to kind of put David in this position. So if we're playing draw go, then I think Nate just stockpiles a bunch of resources, and that's probably pretty good for him. But I mean, if David's able to find a quiet speculation, then that like if that happens like very
That
soon,
really
then
opens it
then
up.
it kind of flips the script, I think.
The thing with his Living Wish package is I feel like there's nothing that really gets you out of situations.
Okay. Are you thinking of like a Radiance Dragoons or what?
I don't know, like some big creature. A lot of times people want to play like some big creature that does something, you know?
I mean, Gilded Drake is like would cover that in some situations, but
Yeah, you're not gonna Drake against a red deck
yeah.
unless you go get like Grim Lavamancer and just go nuts.
You have Mox
That'd be a
Diamond
bingo.
and the
Yeah,
Risk
that'd be a
Grove
bingo.
and the Risk Grove.
Yeah. You got the forest this time around.
Yeah, so we'll have access to any naturalizes that he plays or draws.
There is always the risk with mono red where when you put in non-damaged cards, sometimes you draw them,
Yeah.
and then
I mean, it's the same thing with like with those blue blast cards that like there are
yeah,
certain games you're like, oh, I would have won this if because I would have had like that mass amount of burn spells. But then obviously like there are a ton of times like when you have Pyroblast and it's like, yeah, I needed this effect, otherwise I was gonna die because the what my opponent doing was powerful kind of thing. All right,
we're building a
a
stack.
lot of land for Nathan. He's at 5 mana, right? I think so. Is good in some ways, like if you're drawing like curse scrolls, but other than that, the Sligh deck does not utilize its mana too well. But I guess the silver lining for Nathan is that there's not really any pressure from David, so he'll be able to
He
just.
might hard cast the Roar of the Worm though.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about David. I was saying I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna say Nathan might hardcast a Fireblast, but
Well, I mean that's always a thing too.
problem is you're playing against Mana Leak, and I think I would just it's probably easier to play around Mana Leak if you're just waiting for that final turn and using the alternate cost of Fireblast.
So we're gonna Living Wish for Uktabi. Again,
So yeah, this is a situation where it's kind of like it's kind of underwhelming of what card you're getting. A
yeah.
2/2 that doesn't have an effect. Actually, that is you're disincentivized to play because you have your own Mox Diamond. But all right, Volcanic Spray, the answer for Mogg Fanatic. Oh, both players at 18, and we're on turn like 6 or 7,
Yep.
which is not what I would expected. I think at any point of any of these games. So
So Mono Red's got 5 cards in hand. I'm gonna guess is a spread of Fire Blasts
yeah, I mean it's reactive cards.
and
I guess like
Naturalize.
burn spells
Yeah.
or reactive cards, like because all the creatures I think you'd want to be deploying. But what would be in Dave's hand?
He I'm gonna guess he's got like Mana Leaks.
Okay,
That's what I would guess is he's got like some Mana Leaks. He might have the Roars too though, because like
sure, that's an awkward card to draw. That's like hard to get out of your
yep.
hand. Uh, yeah, Mana Leaks is a card. I mean, I guess Nathan could have some respect if he had like a bunch of Lavamancers that he didn't want to play them all at once because he would be afraid of a card like Volcanic Spray. But I don't know. I think it would be worth playing, certainly playing one earlier and just getting in chip damage. So, all right.
We've definitely I mean also David could have like his one Hydroblast that he's you know,
Yeah, Prismatic Strands is another card. I think
yep.
that. Uh, I think what other cards? Yeah, so Prismatic Strands, Mana Leak, Hydroblast, Roar the Worm. Those are all cards that are a little bit more likely that are in David's hand. Chad has asked if we still make YouTube videos. I think he's referring to when Lester and I would play on Magic Online and record it. It's been a while since we've done anything.
No, Mike doesn't talk to me anymore.
It's something I've just been very busy, but yeah, it's something that like yeah I've considered doing.
Yeah.
I know the current process that I had, like I would edit them and like try and cut out all the dead air was very time consuming. There's probably a way to automate that, and I'm not aware of it. But
So Deep Analysis gets Pyroblasted.
Okay. I mean, that's a decent exchange.
Decent play.
But like David has 16 life still at this point in this game.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, because Nathan has 4 cards in hand, and I mean, 2 Seal of Fires are on the board, so you're effectively at 12. Going down to 9, we'll say, is not necessarily appealing if Nathan has 4 cards in hand, and you're probably not killing Nathan at any time soon. So I don't think there's a lot of incentive for David to flashback that deep analysis. Though I can say that, like I talked about before, is every turn that you pass, from David's perspective, Nathan's likely to be drawing more burn spells. So looks like he is going to flash it back. Down to 13.
Wow. So I'm just wondering what these 4 cards are. It can't be naturalized because you would have blown up the Mox by now.
I mean, if About Face is still in the deck, that could be a card that you would have like stranded in your hand.
Oh, I was talking with the red.
Oh, the red
Sorry.
deck. I mean,
Yeah.
all the burn spells that you would draw that are instant speed, I don't think there's much incentive to be casting them until you have a point where you think you're going to be lethal. So cards like Bolt, Incinerate, and Shocks, I think, are just cards that would be in your hand, and then the reactive ones like Naturalize and
Is it the Wild Mongrel?
yes.
Boom. So now we might see some fireworks because we might start seeing some flashback cards get pitched here. It's really scary playing that with 2 seals on the table. You can't be thinking it's going to live too long.
Yeah, I mean, but Wild Mongrel is probably like one of the best cards in the situation from David's
Yeah.
perspective. That like it kind of, well, first of all,
Yep.
enabling a Roar the Worm, but
He had to discard down to hand size.
you sure you didn't pump his Mongrel?
I don't think he did
I guess
actually.
I guess there is incentive because if you discard to Mongrel before hand size, then you could use a seal in response.
Yeah.
So I think it's strategically correct to discard to hand size.
Overload.
And that is so many effects to go after Mox Diamond. Like that's the only thing it hits, right?
Yeah. I don't think it hits anything else.
Yeah, I think that's might be Nathan's plan of attack is I'm gonna try and cut off your mana and make things a little bit awkward for you, and then win the game that way. And so this game's drawn out a long time. I mean, I will say for David to get access to green mana, he's gonna have to take damage, so that
Yep.
is somewhat relevant.
And unless he's got Prismatic Strand in hand, this Roar is not long for this world, probably.
Yeah, really cool that Wild Mongrel could become white and then uh, use that be a white creature to flashback Prismatic Strands. Do you think that's on the bingo card?
I don't think it is, but it should be. Ooh, another Roar. So that was a pitch to the Mongrel.
So Nathan's got to decide, okay, am I going to be able to race this board? And so if he's deciding that he cannot, he was going to have to try and take out the Mongrel. But looks like he's saying, okay, so
The Mongrel's a 3/3.
yeah, okay.
Oh,
So Nathan goes down to 14. So with David at 12, there's 2 Seal of Fires and there's 4 cards in his hand. If Nathan's not casting anything at the end of turn, I guess Nathan has 2 more turns. Well, not
okay. I mean, that
necessarily.
second Roar is gonna come out.
Well, even like just on the board, like the Roar the Worm plus Wild Mongrel plus the discards, you
Yeah.
could I guess it's 13, right? No, you draw a 14th.
You draw a card up to 8.
You draw at 8. But then any.
That's Exacties. And you could go Rainbow Dog this turn.
Yeah, but if you're using all the cards in your hand, then any burn spell would take out the Roar the Worm token because of the 2 Seal Fires that are already in play.
So he's going for the face here.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because.
Yep.
All right,
The
shock.
We gotta have. Yep.
And if this resolves, then barring okay, Hydroblast. So that
Pyroblast.
put the. I think it needs to be. Oh, in Prismatic Strands doesn't even work here because the Wild Mongrel's tapped. So yep, the bolt resolves thanks to the Hydroblast or the Pyroblast winning over the Hydroblast, and then the 2 Seal Fires take it out. So a perfect Exacxes out of the Sligh deck, and then a Tranquility in the hand of Nathan. And so yeah, Burn had just amount, and so like that amount of time was given, and so David couldn't really assemble pressure until like a long time, and Nathan had just the right amount of resources. And not only that, but like the Pyroblast to interact with the Hydroblast, like it.
And how good is the Overload there to make him take 1 more damage from the green sources?
I mean, it basically is like a burn spell in that situation, but yeah.
Yeah. So he did bring in the Plague.
Yeah, and another Prismatic Strands we saw. But yeah, we're getting to see all the cards that Nathan brought in, which a lot more sideboarding than I thought. So it'll be interesting to see what cards he took out.
He had to have taken up all lanes and some on a Fireblast, I bet.
I don't know, those heavy hitters, I like those cards though. I mean, it's a little bit awkward against like Prismatic Strands, but still.
Wow. There's a Furnace. We got that one right.
All right, I'm going to jump down to the players, and then maybe we can listen into what they're saying about their sideboarding and just be a fly on the wall.
Yep, we can hear you.
Hey.
They're unmuted.
Hello.
Unmuted. Hey.
Hey, guys.
All right. Well, congratulations, Nathan. I will say that
Thanks.
I think the last game played out more of how I thought the match was going to go, but I guess the thing that surprised me is like how many cards you brought in, Nathan. I guess I wasn't even sure if you were going to sideboard like at all. And here you have I guess can you explain your sideboard plan, I guess?
Sure. So I have no obvious reason to bring in Overload. I wanted to try to get an early Mox. And that was the reason for these. I really don't think that they should have been brought in. Pyroblast, obviously, I got to take out anything that he's going to start digging through his library with. And I cannot have him draw cards. I mean, if he's going to pay 3 life to draw 2 more cards out of the yard, so be it. I'll take the 3 life on that. But I can't have him drawing cards and have an advantage. Phyrexian Furnace, pretty self-explanatory. I got to do key targets, which is the worm. I either start chipping away, taking the bottom one, or I just go right at one of the worms to make it easy for me. My green forest, I think we all know why the forest is in there. Tranquility to try to stay clear of COP.
Okay.
I do know that he was running Sylvans, so if I could hit a Sylvan too, that would be great. Again, I don't want the card advantage for him. I'll take him taking 4 life, but I can't have him have that advantage on me. Same with Tranquilities. Tranquilities are in there to either nerf a Mox or to take out the COPs and his Sylvans. So that was my sideboard plan. What I took out the Ball Lightnings. Too high of casting cost for me on him. And if he would cycle back his Volcanic Spray, just too detrimental for me on that one. Same with the pups. All 4 pups came out. I like pups early game. They at least get 2 damage in, but then they become a liability. They're not chump blocking. They're taking 1 off the spray again, and I can't get through his wall. And that was everything I took out of the deck, minus a mountain for a forest. Cards that weren't played, Mogg Salvage, and 2 Naturalize.
Okay.
So 10 cards, took out 9.
David, you want to walk us through kind of what your plan is? We weren't sure exactly. Like you had some cards that, I guess that's kind of what we settled on. About face, Sylvan Library. Okay.
Yeah. So I often finish games again, even against non-burn players, like very low life total, because the libraries and the deep analysis drain me. So my first thought was to cut a couple of, I have 3 Sylvan Libraries, so I cut 2 of them and cut 1 of the deep analysis. This is an iffy one, but I know he's got Red Blast, so I was like, I don't want to pump mana and life into something that's just going to get counted for 1. So that was part of the consideration. Against burn, the about face plan is really rough because if I commit a bunch of resources into a tribe, it's just 1 Mogg Fanatic or whatever.
Yeah, we were talking about like the rules of the fact, because like there's that second line of saying like further effects of this would switch it, because we were thinking, at first you could like go in, or use the about face, and then if they burn it, then you're just going to discard another card, but it doesn't work that way. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Living Wish, I don't have a good like wish targets against burn, so I started out 1 of the 3. I was definitely afraid of both Phyrexian Furnace, which I saw on the deck list, but also Cursed Scroll.
Okay.
So that's why I kept on preemptively getting the Orangutan. It literally never came up.
I would say it was certainly awkward because like if you had to cast it, it would blow up your own Mox in those situations. So yeah.
Exactly. So the Living Wish did not work well in this match. And I started at 1, and I was honestly the whole time I was like, should I take out another? Circle of Protection Red, yeah, obvious choice. Same with Hydroblast. Naturalize, yeah. Once again, I noticed he goes a little harder on the scrolls and the vortexes, so I was just trying to be wary of that. Prismatic Strands is amazing against them. I love the free interaction. It's like a counter spell.
That card certainly impressed me, and like the sequences are really good in the deck. Like having Sunscape Familiar, like, and then you could play play Quiet Speculation and then have it online all the time. And then even just with Wild Mongrel, like the ability to like out of nowhere make a white creature and then like discard that and then flash it back is really cool. So yeah.
And you want to hear a fat misplay I did the last match. I had Wild Mongrel up there, and I truly didn't. I was like, I feel like I need to push a little damage, but I should.
Oh, you had a Strands in hand, but it was tapped. Okay.
Yep, and by tapping the Wild Mongrel, I blew it. Yeah, okay. I should have played it a little more conservatively. Yeah, and then Engineered Plague, I didn't realize you were going to take out Ball Lightnings, because Spray actually is a sorcerer, so it won't hit the Ball Lightnings. And I was
good to know.
Yeah, I was thinking Plague. I could preemptively name Ball Lightning or just any like Grim or Fanatic. Yeah. I have to be a little careful with Grim Lavamancer because, as we were discussing in the tribe group chat, it also shares all creature types with Meddling Mage. So I just have to be a little careful.
Yeah. So whether you name human or wizard, Meddling Mage is both those. Yeah.
And I was noticing you like to control the board, and we were kind of talking about that as well. You like to control the board, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to bring in more bodies. And more things to just absorb whatever shock bolt. So yeah, that was the plan.
So Nathan, you had noted that you had played Tireless Tribe. Was it 3 times in this tournament?
This will be the 4th.
Okay, so what was your record against them? Were you 4-0, or is it some combination? Or...
This will be 3-1.
3-1. Okay. And then David, have you played against Sligh a lot with? Tribe?
Yeah. 3 Slighs, and I was 3-0. Now I'm 3-1.
Okay, so both of you have a positive record. I guess how do you feel the matchup like normally goes? Because I was thinking that David, you wouldn't be able to apply pressure quick enough. But I will say the way things sequenced a lot, like the combination of either or both of Mox Diamond and Sunscape Familiar made the Quiet Speculation package look really smooth. And I don't know if that typically comes together like that quickly or that like that, but like it made the engine look really good and allows Roar of the Rim to come out often like a turn earlier, which I think makes a huge difference, especially in this matchup.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. I think those 2 cards together is just like the core of the shell. Those 3, the Diamond, the Wall, and the Quiet. So I love that core.
Okay.
Now your sequence was perfect when you play the wall and then you come out and have the protection from Prismatic being in the yard, and then you can immediately go and start digging for other cards. And there's a worm next turn. I'm out of the game. I mean, unless I'm holding back 3 burn spells or have 2 bolts or something to take care of the worm.
Yeah,
it's so difficult.
Totally. Yeah,
I think we saw that in the first couple games. Game 5, it worked to my advantage because you came out first with 1, and I immediately had a bolt for it.
Yep.
So I was happy to at least take care of that.
Totally.
But yeah, and then he went right into worms, man. Like there was some slow play between us with the lands because I think we were both drawing really bad.
Yeah, that was an interesting game because we both really were sitting back.
Yeah. I was on the burn your face plan, man. That's what it was, and I just needed that one rip of 1 more for the math.
Yep.
But thankfully, you tapped out your mongrel, and
big mistake.
I mean, listen, I wasn't counting on you tapping him. I was just doing the math to try to get 1 more damage and burn.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I pulled it.
Chad has said that the tribe deck collectively went 7-3 against burn, and all 3 losses were from Nathan. So,
That's awesome.
That's funny. Yeah, I do honestly feel favored in the match, but it's not a gimme. Absolutely.
Yeah. I would agree. I would definitely say you're favored.
On paper, I felt like that. Because you weren't combo. Well, I guess it's really hard to combo against the burn, anyways. But I was thinking your deck was a little bit too slow. But seeing it play out, it was a lot smoother than I thought on first glance. So
yeah.
David, you're just a good pilot, man, and you're doing damage, man. That's awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Nathan. Likewise.
Yeah, your sequencing is on point, man. Like you're like, let me think about how I want to do this, and then you're the nice guy. I will say that you're like, let me think about how I want to spend my mana before I cast it, and not say, oh, well, I have another spell. Can I re-tap some stuff?
Yeah, I try not to. I'll be honest. Occasionally that happens, but
dude, look at all of our misplays through all these matches. I mean, I can understand it happens.
Yeah.
But you're a solid player.
Hey, thank you.
So, David, with your Living Wish plan, is there a card that you would put in your deck that you were wishing you had to Living Wish for?
In the sideboard?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I definitely wish I had not brought in Collar of the Claw into the sideboard. It was like a spur of the moment. I was afraid of black-white control. So I was like, okay, let me have something against Wrath. But it's really a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of that, or just in addition, I have some wild ideas. We were talking about Cabal Therapies in the tribe chat. And
you can quiet spec for them.
Right, you can quiet spec for it. You can go get Acorn Harvest. It's a little risky because that's a big investment. It's kind of like you're using your quiet spec for just that. So there's some pros and cons to it. But I was thinking, okay, if we do Cabal Therapies, then there are some like haymakers that in Premodern that care about stuff when they die, like Academy Rector. If we wanted to do heavier on enchantments, or I have this wild idea of playing Aura Thief because I play against Enchantress a lot. So being able to sacrifice Aura Thief and gain control of all enchantments, it's fun, maybe good, but definitely fun. But all that stuff gets discounted off the wall. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like very tempting when you're like, yeah, this card, like I've always like looked at it, it seems so cool, but because it costs 1 less, like maybe that's like the thing that pushes it over.
Exactly.
And so
and if you naturally have a sack outlet on hand, maybe it's worth it.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add, but yeah, I was gonna say like it was definitely exciting to see the Tireless Tribe deck in action, and it was a very interesting match and was much closer than maybe like I gave it credit for. So I might have to sleeve up the Tireless Tribe deck and give it a whirl because it certainly impressed me, even with the loss. So
nice, yeah.
Yeah, those are some great games from both sides. I'm kind of a little bit surprised you sided out the pups. So I thought you could just set the tone. I don't think David's ever blocking with his familiar against a pup. Are you? I'm on the same page as that. You're just like, it's too valuable.
Yeah, it is too valuable. I get. You're right that I get a little nervous about. Okay, maybe he's got a Mogg Fanatic coming up right behind him in second main. That is definitely the concern. So it's iffy. Yeah, if he's tapped out, but he wouldn't tap out. Yeah. It's definitely too valuable. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought. Great games on both parts, though.
Yeah. Thanks for making it happen.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Congratulations once again. And then we'll figure out when. I don't know which side of the bracket Nathan's on, but you'll be back for the semifinals. So we'll
Okay.
see you again. But yeah, otherwise, thank you, players. Well,
Hey.
Lester and I are going to wrap things up. But
Yep. Thanks again, guys.
thanks.
Thanks a ton.
Great job, David.
Good luck to
Hey,
the next
good
level
question.
here with the mono red.
Thanks. See ya.
Have
See
a
you
good one.
guys. Bye.
All right, Lester. So we're closing out. So the Sligh deck is victorious. I mean, it was a great match, and yeah, it's fun to see Nathan. But like, I think my heart went with the Tireless try. I think it kind of won my heart in that match. So as I kind of had expressed that even with a loss, I'm pretty impressed with how it played. It might be something that I might toy around with. It looks like a lot of fun. But yeah,
I
but
think that deck. I think once they tune it up a little bit, I think that deck could be pretty fierce.
But Sligh is always a force to be reckoned with. It is powerful and consistent. And yeah, it's something that needs to be on your radar. A lot of times when I brew a deck in Premodern, I say, can I beat Sligh? And a lot of times I feel like the answer is no. And sometimes I'll just like, all right, I'll just lose to Sligh. And yeah, that was just always a reason why it is a very competitive choice in the metagame. So yeah, thank everyone for tuning in and watching this match. I had a lot of fun. We are still looking to figure out our other quarterfinals, and then when we're going to be moving forward with our other semifinals match of the Spring Fling top 8. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll be posting the videos to YouTube if you didn't catch the live stream. And thanks again, Lester, for jumping in. It's always nice to have you, especially when mountains are involved.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah. But yeah, is there anything you want to say before we head out, Lester?
No, I just every time I cover a red match, they always side out the Jackal Pups. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why that keeps happening, but no, I thought that was pretty good games. They played up much closer than I thought. Like you said, I thought the tribe was way behind. But he played it really well, so I like that match.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that
Sweet.
we'll call it for our third quarterfinals. Thanks everyone again for tuning in. But until next time, take care.
Have a great one.